Hi everybody. This video is going to be about college success. Um, so the main thing I want to talk about here is studying. And I teach in different modalities. So right now I'm mainly speaking to students who are in a 5-week class and they are taking one class at a time. So if it seems a little bit intensive in terms of study, it is. If you're taking a 15-week class or a 10-week class or an 8-week class, you could lower the number of hours, maybe, depending on what type of modality you're in. But for my 5-week people who are taking this class, the first thing I'd like to say, if you get grades that you are not happy with or that don't reflect where you want to be in terms of GPA, by the way, check out my other video, Grades Do Not Define You. But of course, you need to maintain passing grades. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, are you studying 15 hours a week? So you are taking one class right now. You might be thinking in your head like, wait, what? 15 hours a week? What are you talking about? These are accelerated classes. They're 5 weeks long. So the first question I will ask you is if you're studying 15 hours a week. So I don't care how you do that. The literature on studying seems to indicate that taking regular breaks and reflecting on what you're learning and things are the best way to study. Obviously, you can't sit there for 15 hours studying. Nobody can do that. Maybe a few people can, but they all have PhDs and well, not necessarily, but anyway, for all of us right here, we can't study for 15 hours straight. So what I'm recommending is 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Maybe you don't feel like you have that time. You do have that time. So maybe you would do 5 hours a day, which is a lot still, 3 days a week. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, I don't study that much and I've been successful in school. And that's great. Some of you might not need the 15 hours to get the grades that you want to get. Now, that said, if you also study for 15 hours a week, then you might gain some other things that are way more valuable than just the grades, like your own learning, your own development. And let's say that you have been successful only doing, let's say, 8 hours to 10 hours a week of study, again, in this accelerated 5-week format. Well, yeah, you've been successful with the grades, but like, what if you added 3 or 4 or 5 hours to that and you really like reflected on what you were thinking, or you revised your papers again, or you went to the writing center and you got some feedback and you developed your writing skills over time, or you just read extra, you read some of the recommended resources in addition to the required resources. Think of all the learning and development that would put you so far ahead of the other students who need the 15 hours just to get the grade that they want, in terms of your future goals and things like that. Not that everything is a competition, but it is. No, but I mean, like in the marketplace, right? Like if you're applying for a job and you have more knowledge and better oral and written communication skills, who are they going to hire? It's pretty simple, right? Unless you're a huge jerk. So, but then we can work on the essential employability skills, sometimes called soft skills. So that's the first thing, 15 hours a week. Now, again, if you're in like a 15-week course, what they tend to say is 2 hours of study for every 1 hour in class. So you're supposed to study for 6 hours if you're in a 3-hour class. And you might be able to get away with less study. I definitely did. There were classes that I didn't study for 6 hours, and there were others like organic chemistry that I studied for more than 6 hours a week. And I'm sure you all have those different, depending on your programs and things like that, you have those different types of courses. And that's part of being smart about being a college student too. Okay, but then the question comes, how then shall we study? What I mean by study is study. It's sitting upright like I am right now, maybe in a hard chair, something that's not very comfortable. It is being at a desk. It's being surrounded by your computer. This is I'm talking mainly to my 5-week accelerated online students. You have your computer or your tablet with a keyboard. You're not doing it on your phone. You're not trying to finish it all on your phone. You have your books if you have books, or you have them in the digital format on your computer. You have your notebook. You have anything that you have your coffee. You have the things that you like to be around you. You do not have Cardi B on in the background. You do not have Flip or Flop on the TV while you're studying, right? And that's the important thing about how to study. How then shall we study? And there's also literature on this. Music is okay as long as it does not have language in it. So if you're listening to anything with language in it, if you're listening to loud music, turn it off. It will negatively impact you. You might think, no, I study better. You do not. You just think you do. But classical music, ambient music, Brian Eno is awesome. If you're looking for maybe some ambient, if you don't really like classical, keep it low and then really focus in. So when you're studying, you're reading, you're writing, you're taking notes, you're starting to write your journal assignments, your papers, you're thinking about your final project because you've already looked at it. You're looking back at the syllabus. You're reminding yourself what needs to be done this week. Okay, but Justin, here's what happens, right? And this brings us to the final part. But Justin, I have kids and they're going to come running up and they're going to want me to put them to bed and give them bath time. Yes. Okay, so what I'm telling you is that doesn't count as study time. So let's say that you got in 30 minutes after dinner before your kids came for bath time. Okay, that counts as 30 minutes. So you still have 14 and a half hours left to study in the week. I know it sounds daunting, but it won't be once you get the hang of it. Yes, go bathe your children, read them books, put them to bed, love them, tell them you love them, kiss them, good night. Okay, what do you do then? Do you go watch Flip or Flop? No, you come back to your computer. All right, you have your 30 minutes in, and then you just start cranking, okay? So let's say you put your kids to bed at 8, and your normal bedtime's at 10:30, then you should be spending at least 2 of those hours studying, if possible. But Justin, my spouse, my partner, my lover needs some attention. All right, well, that's fine. And those are all virtuous activities that we should all engage in, discussion, support, and all of those things. But that does not count as your study time, right? So you got to come back again. Some other things about study time. But Justin, I always watch Monday Night Football. I tend to as well. I totally understand your pain. You might never be able to watch TV again in your life, in your college life. That would be a huge first step. I guarantee if you spent the whole week recording when you watch TV and how much TV you watch, it would probably easily cover at least 7 of the hours here, if not even extend beyond 15 hours. Our phones now, I don't have my phone on me. They will literally tell you how long that you're on social media. Well, iPhones will. I'm sure the other ones will too. How long that you're scrolling and things like that. I guarantee you have this 15 hours somewhere. But Justin, I don't want to not watch TV. Okay, well, that's a totally different question and one that I understand, and I don't blame you. You might actually be a human that has too many responsibilities. You might actually be a human that just cannot put the 15 out. There's not 15 hours to spare. You are just being productive and active in every aspect of your life. And if that's the case, then do your best. And if you're not getting the grades, then maybe you need to put off the study until you can dedicate the time. And hopefully you'll be successful. But for a majority of us, we are wasting our time on stuff that doesn't matter. And I'm judging myself here too. I just looked at my phone the other day. It was like 3.5 hours of time on my phone looking at things that were probably 2.5 hours of non-productive things. And I'm just like, man, 2.5 hours of my day, I just sat here. Like, that's a lot of time. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of but Justins and a lot of buts going on in your head. But Justin, I've never done anything like this before. That's fine. It's time to start. It's time to start developing these behaviors. I can guarantee you that if you study hard and if you study with that laser-like focus, that you will begin to like write better, think better, read better. You'll have more knowledge that you can draw from. You'll be making decisions from a broader knowledge bank. It will help in every aspect of your life if you are learning good things, if you're learning the right things. And hopefully you'll feel that empowerment. And then as you feel that empowerment, once you get these behaviors established, you might not even desire to watch TV anymore, right? Maybe what you'll want to do is just read another book, because you realize that, like, wow, I really do like Greek tragedy. Well, there's like, I don't know exactly, like 24 tragedies or 27 or something that exist. So why don't you just go get them and read them, you know, because you can, because you want to, because you desire to, and then you can tell your children about that. Depending on how old they are, you know, you might not want to tell them about Medea or whatever, but I can guarantee you that if you dedicate yourself to this, that at some point you'll feel these things in yourself. You'll feel yourself develop and grow. You'll be making better decisions. You'll be more empowered, and you'll realize, like, yeah, this is what I should have been doing my whole life. This is what I should have been doing instead of watching the Real Housewives, or scrolling through Instagram feeds and things like that, looking at cat videos, right? You know, that all of that stuff, you know, everything in moderation, you know, everything is good in the right amount at the right time. We all need the cat video. For me, it's like watching surfing videos. I need that, you know, you need the break, but the break should be 10 minutes, you know, and then you gotta shut down the surf videos, Justin, and save the next 10 minutes of the amazing Indonesian swell for the next 45 minutes, because what you're going to do for the next 45 minutes is really zone in and write your paper. Now, I hope I didn't come off as sounding too judgmental, but if the but Justins are too heavy, then the simple fact is that some of you will not be successful. And you'll be thinking, like, well, it's not me, it's everything else going on in my life. But college is a bit different. Like, you have to be able to commit the time that you need to be successful. So if you're not being successful, it means you need to put in more time or put in better time. So again, you might think that you're studying 15 hours right now, but you've got the music on in the background. You're distracted every 15 minutes. You're not focused in. You're not rereading things, and you're not making those important intellectual gains and developments that could be happening if you really focused in. No one's perfect at this. You're always going to get distracted. Your brain will tell you, your brain will be like, remember that time that you fell down in front of everybody during basketball camp when you were 10 years old? You know, and then you got to, like, ask that part of you to move to the back and then refocus and get back to work. So I'll stop there. I hope that this helps a little bit. This was all done in a spirit of attempting to help, not a spirit of judgment. But if you do feel a little bit judged, it means that you know that you need to change some of those behaviors. And by the way, you can do that. Everybody can do that. There are thousands and millions of people who have overcome methamphetamine and heroin addictions. You know, if people can do that, we can turn off the TV. We can stop looking at Instagram. So be virtuous with your responsibilities. Take care of your kids. Love on them. Take care of your spouse, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend. Be there for them. Listen to them. Talk about all that stuff. Hang out with your friends, and do all those things. But again, everything in the right measure, in the right way, at the right time, including your study.